The verdict has been spoken, and it did not come from men, nor from corrupt systems, but from the highest court of heaven. For too long, they stole from you, they mocked you, they silenced your voice, believing that the darkness would cover their actions forever. But the evidence was never lost. It was recorded, sealed, and presented before the throne of the Almighty. And now, what was hidden has been uncovered, and what was stolen is not just returning to your life, it is being multiplied beyond measure. Chosen one, your name has been cleared in realms both seen and unseen. Your inheritance is no longer held hostage. Your honor, your resources, your destiny, they are being restored right now, in this very moment. And while the floodgates of blessing are opening for you, someone is paying a price they never imagined would arrive. Because justice delayed is not justice denied, and heaven's justice is always precise, unstoppable, and final. Do not move. Do not disconnect. This is not a story. This is a decree over your life. What you are about to hear carries the weight of eternity and the fire of divine authority. If you let this word enter your spirit, you will not leave this video the same. You will feel a shift inside you, as if invisible chains break while you listen. Because they truly are. So before we go deeper, pause for one holy moment, like this video as a sign of agreement. Subscribe if you haven't yet, so you don't miss what heaven is releasing, and comment 99 below. Why 99? Because in the kingdom, 99 means that what was left unfinished will be completed, what was left broken will be restored, and what felt incomplete will be perfected by the very hand of God. Are you ready? Then stay, because what comes next will shake your soul and confirm that the court has already ruled in your favor. This is not imagination, chosen one. What you are experiencing now is not coincidence, nor wishful thinking. It is the outcome of a trial that took place in the highest dimension of authority. Heaven has been watching silently, collecting evidence you didn't even realize was being recorded. Every tear you shed when no one saw you. Every night you lay awake wondering if God had forgotten you. Every prayer you thought went unanswered. Every betrayal, every stolen opportunity, every manipulation, they were all written, sealed, and placed into a case file that could not be erased. While people laughed, while systems oppressed you, while voices tried to drown out your truth, the Supreme Judge was documenting everything. And now, the gavel has fallen. The ruling has been declared. It is not a symbolic judgment. It is not poetic language. It is a legal decree in the spiritual realm that carries weight in the physical. The verdict is restitution. The verdict is restoration. The verdict is reversal. What was lost will not just return, it will return multiplied. What was damaged will not just heal, it will shine brighter than before. What was blocked is now being unlocked, and what was buried is now rising to the surface with undeniable power. Understand this. No enemy can appeal this verdict. No demonic force can delay it. No corrupt system can rewrite it. The order has been stamped by the blood of the Lamb and signed with eternal authority. That is why strange shifts are happening around you. That is why doors that seemed welded shut are suddenly creaking open. That is why connections are aligning, resources are moving, and people you never expected are reaching out. You may feel it in your spirit already, like a trembling, a pressure, a sense that something massive is about to break through. That is not anxiety. That is the vibration of breakthrough moving closer to your life. Think back for a moment. How many times did you feel everything was collapsing, only to survive by a thread? That survival was not luck. It was the court preserving you for the day the sentence would be executed. How many times did opportunities seem to slip away, only for you to later realize that you were being positioned for something greater? That positioning was not random. It was evidence being gathered to build your case. The silence of heaven was never abandonment. It was accumulation, waiting for the perfect moment when justice would strike like lightning, and now the lightning has struck. The enemy cannot hide behind time anymore. The people who thought distance would protect them are discovering that heaven's memory does not fade. The verdict has been read, the decree has been issued, and nothing can stop what is unfolding. You are not just hearing words, you are standing in the courtroom of eternity, and the ruling has been handed down in your favor. But listen carefully. This is only the first stage. If the gavel of heaven has already struck, then what comes next is even more dangerous, even more mysterious, even more undeniable. Because when the court of eternity rules in favor of a chosen one, there is always a cost, and someone, somewhere, has already begun paying a price they cannot escape. Stay with me, because the revelation about that price is what will leave you breathless. What they thought was impunity was nothing more than borrowed time. Every smirk behind your back, every lie whispered into the shadows, every betrayal signed with a handshake they thought would remain secret. It has all been tallied, calculated, and stored in an invisible account. And now the debt is due. An invoice has been issued in the unseen realm. And the ones who dared to touch you, to mock you, to use your silence as proof of weakness, are discovering that no one escapes the hand of divine retribution. They believed silence meant safety. They believed the absence of immediate consequence meant victory. But in reality, the silence was the countdown, and the victory they celebrated was only the bait that would lead them straight into their downfall. Look around you, chosen one. Can you sense it? Businesses that once thrived on deceit now crumbling without explanation. Partnerships dissolving into chaos. Relationships they depended on evaporating like smoke in the wind. Health deteriorating without a clear cause. Peace slipping through their fingers no matter how tightly they try to hold it. These are not coincidences. These are not random misfortunes. These are signatures of a spiritual bill being collected. Because when someone touches a chosen one, they are not touching flesh. They are touching covenant. They are striking at a promise sealed by God himself, and such an action carries a weight no human hand can bear. They laughed when you kept quiet. They mistook your patience for weakness, your tears for fragility, your silence for surrender. But what they failed to see was that your silence was obedience. Your refusal to fight with carnal weapons triggered an alignment in the heavenly courtroom. By choosing not to lower yourself to their level, you allowed heaven to step in with weapons unseen, sharper than any blade, stronger than any army. You thought you were just enduring. In truth, you were activating justice far greater than your own, and now that justice is manifesting, slowly at first, like cracks appearing in a wall no one thought could break, then suddenly, with force, like the shattering of glass under unbearable pressure. Those who profited from your pain are now losing without understanding why. Those who celebrated your setbacks are facing their own. The very same traps they set for you have become the snares around their feet. Their laughter has turned to sleepless nights. Their victories have become bitter ashes in their mouths. This is the hidden price, paid not because you demanded it, but because heaven decreed it. And yet, this is not about vengeance. It is not about you wishing harm. This is about balance being restored, about divine order demanding repayment. For every false accusation, truth will rise. For every theft, restitution will flow. For every betrayal, loyalty will be multiplied back to you. And for every tear you cried, joy is now being returned sevenfold. This is the law of heaven's economy. Nothing done against a chosen one goes unanswered. But here is the part they never expected. Judgment does not always come in ways that are visible to the crowd. Sometimes the punishment is internal, silent, relentless. Sleepless nights where peace cannot be found. Unexplainable restlessness in the mind. A gnawing guilt that eats away at the soul. The same spirit that comforted you in your darkest nights is now confronting them in theirs. And there is no escape from a conscience awakened by divine fire. Remember this, chosen one. Your silence was not wasted. Your pain was not forgotten. Your obedience has set in motion a process that no man can stop. The bill is being paid and the cost is higher than they imagined. And as they pay, the resources, the opportunities, the honor that rightfully belongs to you are being redirected back into your hands. But lean in closer now, because what comes next is even more mysterious, even more undeniable. There were signs, prophetic signals you felt long before this verdict, signals that most people would have dismissed as meaningless. Those signs hold the key to understanding why you are standing in this moment of vindication. Stay with me, because the revelation of those signs will confirm what your soul has always known. You were never abandoned. You were always being prepared. Chosen one, let's go deeper, because what is happening in your life right now is not sudden, even if it feels that way. The truth is, heaven has been whispering the signs to you long before the verdict was spoken. Think back. Do you remember those nights of sudden restlessness, when your body was exhausted but your spirit would not allow you to sleep? That wasn't insomnia. It was a spiritual alarm clock, an urgent reminder that something in the unseen was shifting. Your mind couldn't explain it, but your soul felt it like thunder in the distance before the storm arrives. What about those strange dreams that lingered in your memory? Dreams of doors you could not open, of keys appearing in your hands, of fire spreading across unfamiliar landscapes. To anyone else they might have seemed meaningless, but to you they carried weight. They echoed with mystery, leaving you unsettled, yet strangely certain that these were not just images of the subconscious. They were visions coded with prophetic meaning, symbols heaven placed into your spirit as confirmation that a breakthrough was on the horizon, and the chills, you know the ones. The sudden shiver running down your spine in moments when everyone around you said, "Everything is fine." They looked at the surface, but you discerned the undercurrent. That chill wasn't random. It was a vibration of the spirit, a signal that danger was near, or that truth was about to be revealed. Heaven has always been speaking, not through thunderous announcements, but through subtle impressions designed specifically for you, because the chosen ones do not walk by sight, they walk by sensitivity. Here is the revelation. None of those moments were coincidences. Every restlessness, every dream, every unshakable feeling was evidence that you were never alone in the silence. God was preparing you for a verdict long before you even knew there was a case. While you thought you were just surviving unusual experiences, you were actually receiving training in discernment. Your spirit was being sharpened like a blade, so that when this day came, you would not only receive the blessing, you would recognize it. Now, the same signs you once kept hidden in your heart are being confirmed openly. What you perceived in secret is manifesting in the visible world. The doors you dreamed about are swinging open. The keys you held in visions are unlocking opportunities. The fire you saw is now consuming every false foundation built against you. What once felt like confusion is being revealed as prophecy fulfilled. The signs were never random. They were markers of God's presence walking beside you in the wilderness. Proof that heaven's plan was always intact, even when you doubted yourself. But here's where the mystery deepens. Those prophetic signals were not only warnings of danger, they were previews of promise. That unusual peace that suddenly filled you in the middle of chaos. That wasn't false hope. It was the Spirit assuring you that even in the storm, your boat would not sink. That sudden certainty that you would rise again even when everything looked impossible, that was heaven showing you glimpses of the verdict before it was announced. So let me tell you this. If the signs have already been this clear, then what is coming next will leave no room for doubt. Heaven never whispers without preparing a shout, and the shout is about to be released. Stay close, because the abundance connected to this verdict is already on its way, and it is far greater than anything you dared to imagine. Chosen one, listen carefully, because what is unfolding is far greater than financial restitution. This judgment is not simply about money. It is about identity. For too long, invisible chains tried to cage who you really are. Generational curses whispered that you would never rise above the failures of those who came before you. False words spoken over your life told you that you were unworthy, incapable, undeserving. Manipulations from people who pretended to support you drained your confidence and left you questioning your own value. And spiritual barriers, erected by forces that feared your light, tried to suffocate your destiny before it could ever bloom. But today, those chains are shattering. Today, those structures are collapsing with a sound that echoes in both heaven and earth. You are standing in the moment where heaven's banks are opening wide, and the flow that was once dammed up is rushing freely toward you. This is not a trickle of blessing. It is a flood that cannot be contained. It is a divine transfer that cannot be blocked. And the most powerful part of it all? You are not chasing it anymore. It is chasing you. Opportunities that once ignored your name are now being redirected in your favor. Rooms that once rejected your presence will now prepare a seat of honor for you. People who once dismissed you will have no choice but to recognize the weight and authority that now rests upon you. Your name, once buried in obscurity, is rising with a gravity that cannot be denied. You are no longer the one waiting at the edges, hoping for crumbs to fall from the table. You are the heir of the kingdom, walking with the posture of one who belongs, because heaven itself has confirmed your place. Let this sink in. Abundance in the kingdom does not respond to greed, it responds to recognition. And now that you recognize who you truly are, a son, a daughter, a rightful heir, you are aligned with the flow that has always been yours. This is why the shift feels so sudden. It is not that the resources just appeared today. They were waiting for you to awaken. They were waiting for the veil to break, for your identity to rise, for you to stop apologizing for carrying light. And now that you have stepped into your true essence, abundance is chasing you with a force that no enemy can intercept. This abundance is not limited to finances. It shows up in favor you cannot explain. It shows up in opportunities you did not apply for. It shows up in healing where doctors gave no answers. It shows up in reconciliation where wounds seemed too deep. It shows up in wisdom that gives you access to places education alone could never take you. It is a lifestyle of overflow, born not from striving but from standing in your rightful place. And yet, understand this truth. When abundance begins to chase you, it exposes those who only wanted you weak. Some will be unsettled by your rise. Some will distance themselves because they cannot stand the reflection of their own limitations in your breakthrough. But do not fear this. Their absence is confirmation of your elevation. Heaven is rearranging your circle so that only those aligned with your calling can walk with you into this next dimension. Chosen one, you are no longer begging for scraps. You are walking as the rightful heir of the kingdom, carrying an authority that demands recognition even from those who once rejected you. Every step you take now is a declaration that you are not defined by loss. You are defined by inheritance. But lean in, because here lies the tension. Abundance is not just a blessing. It is also a threat to the systems that once fed on your silence. And when the flow begins, the resistance intensifies. Stay with me, because what I will reveal next will explain why abundance doesn't just bless you. It shakes entire bloodlines, and it is the reason generational chains are snapping right now. Chosen one, hear this with all the weight it carries. This verdict does not end with you. It is rewriting the entire story of your bloodline. You are not just living for yourself. You are standing as the turning point for those who came before and those who will come after. The battles you fought were not random. The betrayals, the loneliness, the poverty, the rejection, they were echoes of ancient chains, curses passed down silently through generations. Patterns of failure, cycles of shame, chains of poverty, abandonment, addiction, and brokenness that repeated like an unspoken prophecy through your family line. And yet they stopped here with you. You are the final stop of pain, the breaking point of every curse, and the first step into abundance for generations to come. Think about it. The resistance you faced was far greater than what seemed reasonable for one person's life. It was as though invisible hands were pulling at you, trying to drag you into pits that were dug long before you were born. And that is exactly what it was. The same spiritual forces that devoured your ancestors tried to devour you. But they underestimated who you are. They underestimated the covenant stamped on your soul. They underestimated the God who chose you as the breaker of chains. Do you understand why the warfare was so fierce? Why the pressure felt unbearable? Because your breakthrough was never just personal. It was generational. The enemy wasn't only fighting to steal your peace, your money, or your opportunities. He was fighting to keep your entire lineage bound. But heaven chose you as the weapon, the one who would rise in the middle of the fire and declare, "This ends with me." And because of that decree, chains that lasted for centuries are snapping in this very hour. Your children will not inherit the burdens you carried. They will not walk through the same deserts you survived. They will walk on the ground you rebuilt with tears. They will inherit blessings, not chains. They will know stability where you knew chaos. They will know love where you endured abandonment. They will know abundance where you knew lack. They will call normal what you fought tooth and nail to achieve. And they will stand taller because you bent under the weight and refused to break. But don't miss this truth. Your victory is also a redemption for those who came before. Some of your ancestors died without seeing freedom. Some carried pain to the grave, praying for a day they would never live to witness. What they longed for in silence, what they cried out for in secret, is being answered in you. Their tears were seeds and you are the harvest. Their unanswered prayers are finding fulfillment in your breakthrough. You are the bridge between what was broken and what will be restored. That is why the verdict over your life is shaking more than your present. It is echoing into eternity. It is rewriting family records. It is cleansing generational shame. It is lifting curses that once seemed permanent. The inheritance you are walking into is not only about wealth. It is about legacy. It is about building a new foundation so strong that future generations will never know the weight you carried. But listen closely. This is not the conclusion. This is the ignition. Because if the chains are broken, then the stage is set for something even greater. If you were chosen to end the cycle, then you were also chosen to ignite a legacy of favor that cannot be denied. And what comes next will reveal why your story was never just survival. It was preparation for coronation. Stay with me, because the final revelation will not just close this message. It will launch you into a destiny your enemies never believed you would live to see. Chosen one, the court has ruled. The silence that once surrounded you has shattered, and the decree has already been written in fire over your life. What was stolen is not crawling back. It is rushing back with multiplied interest. What was buried under lies and shame is not returning quietly. It is resurrecting in radiant glory. What was denied is now being released with unstoppable force. Nothing, no power, no enemy, no structure can resist it any longer. This is your moment. This is the hour heaven had reserved for you. Do not shrink back. Do not hesitate. Walk boldly into every room as one vindicated by heaven itself. Speak with authority, not apology. Carry yourself as living proof that divine justice is not delayed, it is precise. You are no longer the hidden one. You are the vindicated one, the restored one, the chosen one. And while blessings flood your life, know this: your enemies are already paying. Their silence is torment, their collapse is proof, their unrest is the echo of the price they could never afford. But your resources are moving, your honor is rising, and your destiny is unfolding right before your eyes. So declare it, seal it, prophesy it over yourself right now. Write it in the comments. My justice has been released. Those words are not just text on a screen. They are a spiritual decree, a signature of faith, a key that unlocks what is already moving toward you. Chosen one. The war was fierce because the inheritance is massive. The opposition was heavy because the calling is undeniable. The process was brutal because the crown is eternal. And now the crown rests on your head. The scepter is in your hand. The verdict is in your favor. Stand tall. Walk with fire. Speak with thunder. Shine with glory. Because you are not just a survivor. You are the living verdict of heaven. And the world is about to see it.